Bro, you need to start before you're ready. Like, not just in entrepreneurship, but in life in general, but especially in entrepreneurship. I can't stress this enough. You need to start before you're ready. Like, not too long ago, I was watching this interview with the CEO, the founder of Netflix. And the guy was basically giving like the core lesson of entrepreneurship. And you know what he said? He said the best advice you could give to other entrepreneurs is you need to just try so many different things, because no matter how smart you are, you're never going to be able to predict what the market wants. So what he says is you need to fail as many times as possible, run as many experiments as possible, and show your idea, your content, your product, your idea to as many people as possible, and then see what sticks. He calls it finding product market fit, and it doesn't only apply to just products. It also applies to finding the content format, the content type that the market wants, you know? So for example, one good thing about running the hybrid method that I'm using right now, that I'm teaching people, is even though some people say it's not in alignment with my brand or what I want my brand to stand for, that's not the point. The point is it allows you, it gets you so much feedback. You get so much feedback from people that you can then not decide, but you can figure out what the market actually wants. Because, so let me break down exactly how it works real quick. So how it works is you literally combine two platforms and you view it as one. So you combine Instagram and you combine YouTube. Okay, so Instagram is what gets the attention, what gets the views, you know, because you use proven viral videos, you re-upload them, you basically tweak it to whatever niche you're in, memes specifically, because it's the easiest thing to start with, right? And as a beginner, you have to remember, like, if you're a beginner like I was, like, you can't sustainably upload 2 3 5 talking videos a day. So even if you just in the beginning first start uploading memes, that's fine. That's how I started. Like, my page was purely memes in the beginning. And then once you start getting more confident, once you start realizing, this works, you start building your confidence. And then eventually you're going to want to build a personal brand, right? So then what you do is you leverage Instagram for the virality. So you get people into your ecosystem. People see the content, the memes. You attract people who share certain things you have in common, right? Certain interests, right? Whatever niche you pick, you start recreating memes specifically for that niche, and you will attract other people like me. I'm in the Thailand travel niche. I also have other travel pages. So I will attract people who at least have that in common with me. So then once they follow me, I get them into my ecosystem. And once they're in my ecosystem, and it's a 50-50 hybrid page where it's 50% faceless and 50% personal brand, they stick around. They come back for the memes because it's entertaining, right? And then every now and then my personal brand videos show up, and they get introduced to me in that way, right? And the thing about it is, things move so quickly nowadays that people completely forgot how they found you. So it doesn't really matter how they found you. So, and you'll see what I mean. So once they follow you because of the memes, you get them into your ecosystem, and then every now and then they're going to see your personal brand videos, and every now and then they're going to see it and listen to it and be like, this is the guy behind this page. Cool, whatever. Eventually they're going to check out your Instagram highlights, your Instagram page, and they're going to either vibe with you or not. You're going to lose some followers, but you're going to gain even more because of the memes, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to literally, so what I do is I have 3 of these hybrid pages where I just upload viral content, and it's a 50-50 hybrid personal brand, semi-faceless page, let's call it. And I get people into my ecosystem. They follow because of the memes. They see, this is the guy behind the page. Then they check out my story. They watch my highlights. And then what you do from there is you literally leverage Instagram to then funnel all the attention, all the traffic, all the views to your YouTube channel, which is 100% yours. It's 100% personal brand, right? So think of it as your YouTube channel is the platform where your personal brand resides, okay? And the Instagram hybrid pages, because it's not purely personal brand, right? And it's niche specific. You start out niche specific, but a lot of people, so like with the Thailand page, right? A lot of people say, but I don't want to pick a niche because then that's going to tie me down, and I don't want in a year from now to be tied down to like one specific location, one specific niche or interest or what. I want the personal brand to be about me. And that's great. And that's definitely something you want to do in the long term. So you need to reverse engineer it. But you're not seeing the big picture. The big picture is it's not the end all be all. The Instagram hybrid pages are just like the bridge to get you to the 100% personal brand YouTube channel. So now on the YouTube channel, you're going to be in the beginning, and that's the thing, even in the beginning, you cannot realistically, sustainably rant on camera for 10 minutes non-stop. Like, it's hard for a beginner to create long-form content. Even for me now, it takes some practice, especially if you're camera shy like I was. It doesn't come natural, just talking to yourself, looking at a piece of plastic. At least for me, it never came natural, right? To me, like, there's no difference between that and just talking to a wall. And to me, that's crazy, right? At least in the beginning, until you get used to it and you realize, you're just talking to one person, and you pretend you're sort of talking to a friend. So your tonality changes, you come across more authentic. And yeah, eventually you can just rant like this and I'm no expert. I'm not perfect at it. I'm trying to figure it out just like everyone else. But the point I'm making is, think of YouTube and Instagram as one platform where you literally eventually, in the beginning, you just start off with the hybrid Instagram pages. That's gonna gain momentum, start attracting people into your world, into your ecosystem, who then follow you because of the hybrid pages. And then eventually, once you get, comfortable on camera and you share your story and you share your why, because here's the thing, right? When you're building a brand online, the foundation of the brand is literally your story. It's literally your why. It's literally your voice. So if you're building a brand, the first thing you need to do is to build the foundation of the brand. You need to be able to know, okay, well, what's your story? What's your why? That's literally, especially now in the age of AI, you need to know what your story is, what your brand's mission is, what your brand's message is, your core marketing message. Another way I like to put it is, what's your one central reason? What's the reason? If people would ask you, okay, hey, you, what do you do? What do you offer? How can you help me? You need to be able to, in one sentence, easily say, bam, this is what I do. This is how I can help you. And the good thing is, beginners, they don't really know how to figure that out. So by starting off with the hybrid pages, with the semi-faceless pages, it gives you, like the CEO of Netflix, how he says, put yourself in a situation where you can test. So once you have a viral meme page about a topic that interests you, that will attract people who have something in common with you, then you're already attracting your target audience, your what they call ideal customer profile, your ICP, right? And then you get them into your world and you funnel that traffic, that attention to your personal brand on YouTube, right? So even if in the first couple months, and I made a video about this, about how in the beginning you have to be fine with driving a rusty, beat up Toyota Prius before you drive a Ferrari, right? So think of the hybrid pages, the memes that the brands that you're gonna build. That's the rusty Toyota Prius, because that's going to get you to where the Ferrari's at, right? So don't mind it if in the beginning you're going to be upload. That's not going to represent your brand, is what I'm trying to say. It's definitely not going to represent your brand in any way, shape, or form. That's just the beginning. You're going to see that before you know it, it turns into this funny, ridiculous meme page to like a full-blown, respectable brand that has authority, that has a following, that has an audience that you can monetize, that you can sell to, that you can speak to. Because in the beginning, perhaps the reason why it took me so long to find my voice is because I didn't exactly have an audience to speak to. So I was literally speaking to the void, to empty space, right? And it's not until you actually, and I think what really helped me a lot was figuring out my story, my why, because that's the foundation of any brand, especially nowadays with the rise of AI. You need to figure out what your story is, what your why is, because otherwise you're not going to get very far. And it helps because once you start telling your story, your brand becomes an extension of you, which makes it very, very personal. And then you put a lot more TLC, tender loving care, into your brand, because it's literally you. So it's not like you're just working on a project. No, it's literally you're working on you. You're building an extension of you, your values, who you are, what you stand for, and everything in between. So to summarize, I know this is a lot. I'm trying to rant as much as possible. So to summarize, you're gonna combine. This is the big picture. It's not how you start in the beginning, because like I explained, you just start with Instagram hybrid pages, right? Until you figure out, okay, this is your messaging. Because if you can't tweak a meme to say something, to share a message that you're passionate about to the world, then you don't have a message. And if you don't have a message, you don't have a story. And if you don't have a story, you don't have a why. And if you don't have a why, you don't have a brand. And if you don't have a brand, well, you have nothing. What are you doing, right? So start off in the beginning. Start off purely with Instagram. Once you get an audience, you get some traction. You figure out your story, your why, your voice. You get comfortable on camera. You start getting comfortable in your own skin. Then you focus like I am. I'm focusing right now on YouTube long form. So let me break down exactly what I'm doing now that I'm like 5-6 months in, right? Because I've sort of figured out this strategy, brainstorming it with friends and perfecting it with like actual real life results from my audience. So basically how it's gonna look once it's done is you're gonna film long form content like I am on YouTube for YouTube. That's the mindset you're gonna have. You're filming long form content for YouTube, even though you have to remember it's one platform. Both YouTube and Instagram, they're one platform. Treat them as one. So you film for YouTube long form. You post it on your YouTube channel. You repurpose, you clip 30-second reels, 60-second reels, and repurpose it on your Instagram hybrid pages. So the Instagram hybrid pages, once you have 5,000, 10,000, tens of thousands of followers on Instagram, you have an audience. And then what you do is you literally shout out your YouTube channel to your audience. And because they love the memes you put out, they're going to give you a follow. So you naturally hack the YouTube algorithm because you get followers from doing nothing by simply shouting out to people, hey, give me a follow. And then what you do is people will watch your content, your hybrid 50% personal brand content on Instagram. Obviously, there's not much depth to it on Instagram. But that's where the long form, so there's no trust building, there's no nurturing, right? People don't know, like, and trust you because they only see 15 seconds of you in a short form reel, right? So what you do is you attract, you get as many followers as possible, you go as viral as possible, you get them into your ecosystem, and then they're gonna watch a couple of your videos on Reels, which is short form. And then what you're gonna end up doing is, you're gonna funnel that traffic to your YouTube channel. And then on YouTube, they're going to watch at least 7 hours of your content. They're going to watch at least 7 hours of your content. And that's going to nurture them. That's going to take them from cold to warm. And then they're going to, in your YouTube videos, you're going to give them a call to action. Hey, look, if you want to work with me, by then they already know what your story is because of your Instagram highlights. They already like your values. They like the brand, what the brand stands for, the brand's mission, and they resonate with you. The YouTube just builds the trust, right? So then what you do is in your YouTube videos, you literally say, hey, listen, if you want to work with me, DM me on Instagram, because that's how they found you in the first place, right? DM me on Instagram. So then they get off YouTube, they go back onto Instagram, and then they DM you, but they're already sold, right? So it literally is a good strategy for brand building, especially. I think I've sort of pioneered this because I haven't seen anyone doing it this way with hybrid pages. So yeah, it's not the end all be all. It's literally the hybrid meme pages are just to get the momentum going, because once you start getting the traction, getting the momentum, it's going to be a lot easier for you to pivot in any direction that you want. So it's not the end all be all, because obviously I don't want to be tied down to Thailand, right? I want to travel the world. I don't want to leave Thailand and suddenly my audience can't resonate with me because they followed me for the Thailand. No. So what you do is I create multiple travel brands, not just about Thailand. And then I just funnel, and each of them shares my story. It's the same brand's mission. It's the same core marketing message. Everything's the same, just a different audience, a different niche. And basically I funnel all that traffic. You put the link in your bio, and on your link tree or whatever page you use, you link your YouTube channel. And every other day on your stories on Instagram, you literally say, hey, look, guys, I just created this new YouTube channel. I'm trying to get some traction. I'd really appreciate it. Could you do me a huge favor and just give me a follow? And you literally do that every other day until you hit like 1,000 followers on YouTube. And then guess what? With 1,000 followers on YouTube, I think it is. Don't quote me on that exact number, but I think it's 1,000 followers on YouTube and at least 10,000 minutes watched. Then you can actually monetize on YouTube. Now I'm not sure if I can monetize particularly because I think I got banned on YouTube for running ads, but I'm not even trying to monetize through YouTube through views, through watch time, through ads, right? I'm just doing it all purely organically, right? Because I used to run ads on YouTube, on Meta, on Facebook, on Instagram. Like I thought I was gonna get my breakthrough with paid ads. Like I was neck deep in paid ads. I did 3 years of intense paid ads. I was an ads boy, but it wasn't sustainable in the end because I was non-stop glued to my screen. And I don't know if you ever had this, but you're not actually living because you're spending money. And when you're spending money, you can't like you need to be glued to your screen, otherwise you're literally just squandering your ad spend, right? So yeah, that's one thing I would recommend everyone do is just, you might have an idea, but like this guy from Netflix, he said, no matter how smart you are, no matter how good you think your idea is, you're never actually going to be able to predict what the market wants. So you need to test. And once you have more or less, I mean, you can't be 100% clueless, right? You need to have some sort of idea or direction, right? Like you need to know, okay, I like this niche. I have an interest in this, right? Otherwise, no one can help you. Like if you can't say more or less that you like this color, then no one can help you, right? Or this thing, or this topic, or this subject. So you need to have an idea first. But once you do, then you just start taking action. And then, I made a video saying how entrepreneurship works is when you walk the way appears. So even though you might not know what niche you want to run with, you need to pick a niche that you think you want to run with, that you like. That's like number one on your list, that you like, that's an interest, right? Just pick it, run with it. Get my free guide. Learn digital marketing. Copy exactly what works. Success leaves clues. So if you just model what works, but tweak it to your niche, your brand, your messaging, even if you do it poorly, even if you only do it with 70% accuracy, once you start walking the way will appear. And then you can be like, oh, well, I started with this meme page and I started with this name. And that's another thing I want to stress. It's like, the traditional business advice is that the brand name doesn't matter and da-da-da. I learned that all that's rubbish, especially now with Instagram. The brand name really, really matters. So I would put a lot of effort, a lot of attention, a lot of time into figuring out a good brand name. So here's a couple of good tips I want to leave you with. So I've noticed that if I had to pick between a brand name that screams community versus a brand name that just screams a topic, I would 100% pick community. So I would always try to figure out a name that I can use that makes people feel like they're part of a tribe, a community, a group of people, like-minded individuals, right? So that's a good takeaway if you want to figure out a name for your brand. Always pick one and you can brainstorm with ChatGPT. Like if you're not using ChatGPT on a daily basis to brainstorm ideas, start talking to it. Like when I first started out, for me, just sending a voice note was cringe. That's how bad I was, right? And especially for like the generation that grew up with the technology, right? Because I grew up I was literally the transition between the Nokia phones and the smartphones and the flip phones and the shit. So I didn't grow up with the technology. So for me, it was brand new. So just simply sending a voice note was cringe. Like going on camera and speaking was cringe. But like with anything else in life, it's a skill you develop. And once you obsess over it and every day you think about it non-stop, and in the beginning you start talking on camera, you use a teleprompter and you get used to just ranting in your own voice while you're reading the teleprompter, right? And then what happens is after a few dozen times, you start rewatching them and you realize, I don't like how I present. I don't like my tonality. I didn't come across as authentic. Or my energy was too much. I was overbearing. I was too intense. I don't like, I come across as maybe immature, or I don't want to be perceived like this. So then you start tweaking. You start realizing, if I present with my chin down, with this tone of voice, with this, tonality, I sound a lot better. I sound more genuine. And then you get comfortable in your own skin and in your own voice. So then once you do that, then everything else becomes easier. I'm telling you, just like any other skill. Just like any other skill. Once you do it repetitively, constantly, consistently, and here's the thing, you hear Trump, people might not like Trump, but he gives some good advice. He says momentum is a real thing. Momentum is everything. And I couldn't agree more. Once you get your momentum, you cannot stop. You cannot stop, because what happens is, like with me, you obsess over it, and then non-stop your mind's constantly running on, okay, you're reshaping your own self-image, your own identity. And before you know it, over time, you're literally programming you're literally burning this new program into your hard drive, if that makes sense. And then you literally adopt a new identity. You view yourself in a different light. And that mindset shift, and people always say, oh, mindset is everything and blah, blah, blah. So part is bullshit and there is some truth to it, right? So here's what I mean. It's not purely just mindset. It's a combination of real world results and a mindset shift. Because the mindset shift, okay, ultimately it boils down to mindset. Here's what I mean. But in order to get that mindset shift, you need to put input, get output, and because of those real world results, because you put in the effort, the reps, because you did it badly on camera first, what ends up happening is you rewatch it, you view yourself as the person who actually goes on camera now. And eventually, every now and then you do a decent video, and then you view yourself as the guy who does decent videos. And then guess what? You just build on that momentum. And before you know it, after another dozen tries, then you're the guy who does it pretty well. And then you suddenly find your voice, your tonality, the way you want to be perceived, and the way you want to express yourself. You get comfortable sharing your own personality.